back on.
Okay. Cool. You gonna keep going?
Yep.
All right.
Yeah, for a little bit.
Have a great time.
Thank you.
I'll make sure that I have some stuff prepped if you want to.
Yeah, I'll post it up. I'll post it up in the hobby channel.
Great. Sounds good.
Sorry, gang.
Hi, chat. Bye, chat.
Jordan says hi, bye. Sorry, gang. I don't know what happened. The whole freaking computer just froze. I was just chatting away, and then I looked over. So I don't know where I left off. I don't know what you guys did here. So I looked up, and nothing was working. So we got that going for us. The screen was frozen. I don't know if you heard me cursing. It's Chris. Chris found a way to VPN in and say, "Oh, you'll quit at 4." Yeah, exactly right. Chris snuck in and messed everything up. That's exactly what Jordan said. He cursed us. Nope. Computer froze. It may be getting hot. I don't know. It's not that hot here today. And the AC's on, so I don't know, chat. I don't know. You said Chris found us. Oh God. We're in so much trouble. I was like, I'm not ready to quit. Damn it. You're not the boss of me. Here I was. I think what I was saying as I was realizing is I was doing my Chris impersonation, right? Or was that before all that? I felt like I was doing my Chris impersonation. I was like, chat, it's time to end the show. Like, you're not the boss of me. And then it froze. The ghost of Christopher Past. He said it to auto die at 6. Rethius, thank you. Oh yeah. As a matter of fact, the whole company started from this, right? We some of the people here in chat have been around since the before times. We started, geez, coming up on 10 years ago, right? Just streaming education. Using other products that I had used throughout my, at that time, 30 plus years of painting, and having fun as a streamer, just content creating. And really only on Twitch. I didn't do much YouTube. Every now and then I would drop a YouTube video, but it just has never really been my style. I'm not as excited about video editing as I am about live streaming. So we just kind of sunk it all into the idea of live streaming and have been doing it ever since. We've never stopped, even through all of the release of the paints and all of our products. Everything that we've done as a business, it's always been super important to us to continue with the community involvement and education. It's just part of what's built into me. And as a company owner, I get laughed at a lot because people are like, why do you do that? Like, that's a lot of time for a founder and owner to take out of your day, you know, especially when a lot of times I bitch about, I don't have enough time to do everything I need to do. And people are like, well, you could not spend 2 hours of your day streaming. And I'm like, oh, heresy. You people don't understand. I just live for this. Painting with my friends on the internet. That's why I'm doing it on my day off, right? Because I would be painting anyway. I had set up a plan to come in and paint. So why not paint with you guys? You put up with my crap and listen to my nonsense and let me tell funny stories and make jokes. And this is basically like hanging out with your friends at the bar and nerding out. So what's better than that? Except there's no alcohol. I don't drink, so. Which is also funny because we used to on Friday nights, like this would be the show, right? Raise your hand in chat. X up in chat if you've been around long enough to know what was Jen and I's drink of choice on the Friday night show. See how many old schoolers we got here. Not enough time in the day. Psh, sounds like non-hobby nerd talk to me. Yeah, exactly. That's that damn business logical talk. Screw business. Let's paint models. I have an amazing crew. I really do have an amazing crew here. And we have people. One of my amazing employees, Ellie, this morning texted me bright and early. We have an issue with UPS. And it is a major issue. It could be a major issue if we didn't get it solved, right? It had to do with the way that shipping companies are handling some of the new tariff things, and so we were having to, react very quickly because UPS is a horrible communicating company, and did not let us know before showing up with some things that we really needed that there was a charge for them. And we went back and looked and they'd never emailed. They even admitted that they'd never let us know. That was not how their system worked. You just had to figure it out. They showed up needing cashier's checks for boxes that they weren't going to deliver. And we were like, well, we need these. And they, well, we're not going to deliver them until you pay us. And so Ellie woke up at like 4 o'clock this morning because the UPS's customs handling office is on the East Coast. She woke up at 4 o'clock this morning and sat on hold for a long time with them to figure out exactly what was going on. Finally found a human, got it all figured out, and we got it put to bed today. And that's just, I'm like, wow. So those people make it to where I can be here having fun and painting and integrating with our community because I have such a great team of people that take care of the company. You're waiting on the Friday drink of choice? Well, somebody was supposed to tell us. It wasn't Bold Pyro Red. Vibes-based trade policy. I mean, these are nothing new. These are just hitting consumers for the first time in a long time, right? We've had tons in the U.S., especially. We have to navigate various tariff things with international countries all the time. You're always playing the game of what is that harmonized tariff code for the product you're importing, and customs got it wrong and they charge you too much and yada yada. This has been going on time immemorial, right? But yeah, now where they're doing things like messing with the de minimis standard shipping stuff, that affects you guys, right? Usually tariffs aren't something you have to worry about. I mean, it is if you figure, why is my favorite stuff cost more? And then you learn that, oh, tariffs for the country that makes that stuff went up, you know, for whatever reason. There's destabilization in the region, wars, stuff like that. But now it's affecting directly your ability to like buy from your favorite website. You know, in our hobby, we have a lot of people that are facing the struggle of not knowing how to ship because all of this came down, and a lot of the shipping companies, like international shipping companies, didn't really put anything in place or know how to react for whatever reason. And so they didn't have a solution for how to handle the customs charges for customers in the US. But I've been seeing a lot of the companies in our hobby being able to release statements over the last couple of days that now they can resume shipping to the States and that they are just charging a fee and however they're handling it. So that's good. Hopefully that allows them to continue to ship awesome hobby stuff over here. When you see your toys go up in real time, I know, right? It's you know, while it is fair to say that everything that we do is a luxury good, right? It is. I understand that. I don't take it personally when people say that. You know, there's no world where you have to paint models to survive. But it is such an amazing and cathartic thing for, you know, everything from mental health and life stability to be able to do your favorite thing and a hobby like this that is a motor control, you know, also, you know, very thought provoking from the fantasy and sci-fi and narrative stuff and, you know, involving because of the social aspect. It just works in lots of different ways for lots of different people. And so you hate that, you know, it becomes a deal where all of a sudden you're like, oh, well, I'm not going to be able to participate in my thing, or worse yet, for a company that's invested a lot in it to not be able to continue doing so. So fascinating times for sure. Crotch plate. This is looking good. I'm a liking. Crazy fact, it is now cheaper for you to can your own pickles than buy them. First time in 20 years you've been checking. The math is wild. Yikes. A lot of established board game designers are going bankrupt these days. It's sad. Rethius. Yeah, I have talked to a lot of people in the industry, and there's a lot of high emotion on that, as you can imagine. There's an odd thing. I say odd. How do you do this? I don't want to get overly political, right? It's not what we do, but there is an exposure you have as a business if you do not have some form of a crystal ball approach to doing business. And by crystal ball, I mean you have to be looking into that hazy future of the possibilities, if then what if, you know. I'm unfortunately or fortunately, it's kind of like a double-edged sword for me. I'm kind of a chicken little. So the way that I approach business is I'm always hoping for the best and expecting the worst, I think is the way to say it. And so it has its own detriment because sometimes I don't see the value in our own successes because I'm too busy looking at the next possible problem. So I think it offers some stress internally to manage that way, obviously. But it also looks at what the possibilities are in the world. And so if you run your business either too far one direction or the other, and I don't know how to balance it because I'm not great at it. If you run your business too far in one direction or the other, you get used to the good times and all you do is pay attention to it. You spend the money on new stuff. You're doing great stuff. It feels great. And then something like this happens, like tariffs out of the blue, because it could either be presidential decree or it could be war. It could be the million things affect tariffs, right? It's not like this is anything out of the ordinary other than the way it's being presented. You know, it then can crush your company And I don't know how to look for all the possibilities of problems, because it's like saying, well, what if Yellowstone erupts? What if the volcano or the seismic activity under Yellowstone? I mean, I can't live my day planning for that. So I get that you can't change the way you do business based on all the variable possibilities. But there are some things like, being able to make sure that you have a good supply chain, a good store of capital so that you can react to things if they go bad. Because boats sink, right? For all these game companies that do so much business overseas, like 100% of their manufacturing is overseas, the fact that they don't have, not insurance policies, because that's not really a thing. But when I say insurance policy, it's more of a mental mind state of ways to alter your production quickly, so that if a boat sinks, your container falls into the ocean and you lose all that, and they only insure it for a fraction of its cost of production because they're going to go out of business or whatever and go into bankruptcy, because the boating companies are always on the verge. You have to think of it that way. We've taken the approach that we rely on our logistical chain is in North America 90%. So we don't rely on much from overseas for the bulk of our revenue. And so that's a different conversation, right? It's like then you're reliant upon all the companies in the U.S. making good choices, and that's not always the case. And some of them get supplied from overseas, so you can see how layered this becomes. So you can never guarantee that you can remain successful or remain without having to lay off people and shutter your doors. But there are things I think that you can do at the front line that the gaming industry by and large doesn't, because it's run mainly by passion project people, especially at the indie level. I mean, we're a passion company too, so we understand 100%. And the passion-minded people may not have the right, partners and implementations to survive stuff like this, and that's a shame. I think that one of the things that I've been doing is really being vocal against GAMA, which is the Game Manufacturers Association, and because they provide absolutely no resources to manufacturers that help them in this regard. Yet when the problems occur, they all yell and scream about the problems. And I'm like, well, you have a resource that charges people a membership fee that should bring in people to talk to them about this stuff. So I hope they start doing it now. I hope that this is kind of the bomb that helps GAMA become a resource for people, that helps them be more than just a community of people yelling about problems. That would be what I would really like to see. I would even go on the GAMA board to help that, because I think there are great business resources out there that a lot of people in passion businesses are afraid to promote because they don't understand it all. I've talked to a ton of game manufacturer, like indie developers, that don't know how to read a P&L and don't know they just let their accountant take care of it. And I look at them like, I'm like, If you're ever near Salt Lake, I'll happily trade you hobby terrain for produce. Yeah, if you can hand brine your pickles. We have a lot of stores. Arizona's weird, because in Arizona we have a lot of restaurants we go to that hand do their own pickles. Like, they brine their own pickles and stuff in-house, and then they also have other things that they pickle around, and it's really cool. We live in the downtown area, and there's a lot of mom and pop places, and I guess that's something that's simple to do. I don't know, but they have a lot of that stuff. So. Awkward, you didn't know that about GAMA. I mean, GAMA is a good resource for things, but they don't do a very good job of developing resources for people to actually help their business. It is a very good communal, social activity place that helps promote from within and talk about their people and has a lot of feel-good aspects to it. But from a business standpoint, they're tough. They don't really have, right? Yeah, you definitely get it when it's a passion biz sometimes. I mean, look, we started that way. I learned Jen is a perfect example. I've run businesses before at a small level, but this is much bigger than anything I've ever run. Jen was a teacher for 16 years, and so Jen had to learn trial by fire how to do the accounting and the finance and deal with the attorneys on stuff, because I can't do it all myself anymore. And before we started hiring lots and lots and lots of employees, we're nearly up to 40 employees now. At those in-between times, we both had to learn trial by fire, but we had to, and we focused on it. It meant that sometimes it wasn't fun, and that's, again, we come full circle and talk about why the stream is so important. The stream gets me away from all of that and lets me come back to the passion side of it. So I think that in a real serious sense, you have to be able to divide your passion and keep it energetic for why you started doing what you do: game development, hobby products, whatever you're doing, making cars, doesn't matter. and then also find a way to get the side to do the business, or be able to afford hiring people that run that for you. And of course, that's very difficult because, most indie companies can't just hire C-suite people out of the blue and say, you're my CFO now. That's expensive. It's very hard. Bread and butter pickles. Now you're talking. I have some at home for my ham sandwiches that Jen left me for when she's out of town this weekend. More passion, more footwork, more energy. Yeah. Yeah. Learning how P&L works isn't ever going to be as fun as finishing off your cool Blood Angel mini, but it has to be done. Yeah. But see, that's not only passion projects. I'm in a local entrepreneur business owner group that has a couple hundred business owners from the Phoenix, Arizona local area at all levels. It vets it at a particular entry level, so your business has to be a particular size before you can get in, and then it's sky's the limit beyond that. And so we have business leaders of all levels and doing all sorts of things, from dry cleaning to aeronautics manufacturing. You can pick it. There's somebody in there that does it. So they're brilliant in terms of sharing information and stuff like that, and they really focus on being able to help you navigate the hurdles of business and all that. But I have met more people in this entrepreneurial association that don't know how to read their finances, that it's scary. It's not just a gaming industry thing. It's in real estate and in everything. Slaving over Excel sheets so I can keep your cat and hobby addiction fed. I hear you. I say that all the time. What do? I stare at computer screens and numbers. That's what I do. Then I paint models for 2 hours. Hamburger, dill, or bust. I like bread and butter pickles too. They have kind of a sweet, savory thing going on, right? That's what bread and butter is. Not quite like sweet gherkins, but sorta. Dyscalculia makes it very hard to manage your finances. You still try though? I don't know what that is. Dyscalculia? Like you have a hard time with numbers? Soul Siege says, I'm glad you paint models with us, brother man. Me too. 100%. 100%. It literally is the lifesaver that it needs to be. And that's why I promote the education and the painting so much to not only gamers, but people outside the gaming space, right? Because I believe that this kind of focus on anything can really help you through good times, tough times. I say that being able to sit and paint and hobby helps me recognize my successes and when things are going good, just as much as it helps me get away from the things that aren't feeling so good. And that's super important for me, and has been for decades of my life. And I wish, people ask me what you would do if you had the genie in the bottle. The first thing I would do is snap my fingers and make everybody love themselves, honestly, because that's a big thing, right? But the second thing I would have them do is be able to find something that makes them feel the way painting makes me feel. And that sounds very egotistical maybe when I say it that way, but that thing, that whatever it is that gets you going, so that you can, I'll say, retreat into it. I don't mean that in a hide from your problems way. We just released a video a week or so ago that speaks to that, and lots of people here on stream have heard me say this over the years. I never believe it's good to layer your hobbies with the heavy responsibility of making you feel good in bad times. That's too much responsibility, because it's asking too much of your fun thing. And then when it can't provide it, you start to dislike your fun thing, and it becomes something you don't like anymore. And I'm a prescriber of the worst thing in life is not losing what you love. It's having what you love become everything you hate. Clip that, right? This is Therapy Friday now. The worst thing in life is not losing what you love. It's having what you love become everything you hate. That's a song lyric from somewhere. I don't remember where, but it stuck with me for my entire life. And it is a truism, right? And if you labor your hobby, the thing that gives you pleasure, with the need or the responsibility of taking away the pain all the time, you will kill your hobby. 100%. I don't care if it's fishing. I don't care if it's, gunsmithing. I don't care if it's gardening. If every time you do it, you expect it to take the pain away, whether it's the pain of Facebook and people yelling and screaming about politics, or the pain of you hating your boss and your job or your relationships or whatever, it will fail. 100% it will fail. What you need to do is let your hobby be the driving factor that makes you handle those spreadsheets, handle that business in a way that is comfortable to you, so that you're like, I'm going to get this done because I have a hobby waiting that will treat me much better than this damn spreadsheet. And then just get it done. Right? I use the story that when I was a kid, and I've told this on stream a bunch of times. When I was a kid, my mom would have me sweep the front porch. And I would bitch and moan about sweeping the front porch. It sucked, right? And it's so funny because later in life, like I would sit out there for hours holding a broom and bitching under my breath, muttering, my parents suck and I could be having so much fun, but I got to sweep the damn porch. And I just sit there holding the broom like an idiot, right? Not sweeping the porch, just holding the broom. When I was an adult, I don't remember what I was doing. I was taking somebody, girlfriend or somebody, back to see the house I grew up in, right? And we drove past the house and pulled up and looked at it. And the first thing that struck me is how damn small that porch was. I can't lie to you. I'm an idiot. I wasted more valuable time as a kid that could have been spent being a kid and having fun. I wasted so much time holding a broom and muttering under my breath when the porch was 8 feet wide and 5 feet deep, maybe 6 feet deep. If it was 48 square foot or 50 square foot of porch to sweep, I'd be surprised. I could literally, as a grown-ass man, sweep that porch in 5 minutes. Bagged, leaves, everything. Doesn't matter. When you're sick and slow with one leg, you could sweep that porch in 5 minutes. And as a kid, I wasted hours of my life worried about how horrible it was that I had to sweep a porch rather than play video games or whatever it was. And so as an adult, now you sweep the damn porch because that gives you all that time to go play video games. Right? 100% finish the thing that causes you pain. Don't run from it so that you can get back to the things that cause you pleasure. That's it. It's that simple. There you go. Life. I'll give you that one for free. Yeah. Be brave enough to suck at something new. 100%. Flap sack. I just told you, man. It's tiny. Tiny. Chai Cat. Yeah, I don't know that we do it all right, but we feel like we have a good thing going here, you know. Sweep the damn porch. Exactly. Chronic Toast. Did I have a moment of clarity at Valhalla where I said that? I need a constant recording machine because I could have a book of quips from my 55 years that might actually sell. 100 months of subscribing and finally something that makes sense around here. Big Bob. I knew the light bulb would go off eventually, even for you. You have many hobbies, and this is my biggest stress reliever. Yeah. It can still relieve stress, right? Because like when I get done with the spreadsheets, I'm still stressed because the thought of it follows you, right? The pain that you've taken care of doesn't wash away as soon as you dot the I and cross the T. You get done with the spreadsheet, and that just means that I'm done with that task. The stress of the business still runs with me, the relationships, whatever, still go with me, and that's where the hobby can help. It can help you realize that, well, I'm done with that for now. I did what I needed to do. There's no stress other than the next to do, and I can focus on this now. You know, I love the fact that on my weekends, I can come in here and paint, and I'm getting better at it. I won't go to my office and sit at my computer and work. I might be lying to you a little bit, but for the most part, because like I said, I don't have a paint studio at home. I come to the office. So the dilemma there is that if I come to the office and I paint, and like I stand at my desk, I don't know if all you know, this is a standing desk. So if I'm standing here for 4 or 5, 6 hours painting on the weekend, you know, music's on, or I'm listening to my book, and I got a drink and a snack, and then I'm like, I got to go pee. And I go to the bathroom, and then I go sit at my office, and then I turn the computer on, and then I go through YouTube, and then I look at the spreadsheets, and then 6 more hours pass, and I'm dug into work. So I'm trying to be better about that because there's no need for it, right? But it's hard. Sweep the damn porch. Attack the guy who causes you pain. Yeah, exactly. It's a special tactic in 40K. It's one of your cards. Spend a command point to sweep the damn porch. You're like shit your dad says. Yeah, exactly. Don't eat the paint. Sweep the porch. Enjoy your hobby. I'm the dad you all need. Oh, no, don't give me that title. I am not paying for all your school. But I would like for a couple of you to come take care of me when I get old and enfeebled. So raise your hands if you'll come be my caregiver. I'll give you models. I like quoting One Punch, "You're too young to fail." And something I say to yourself when you don't feel like doing anything, there's time to be dead later, like everything else you're able to do now, yeah? I'll wash your palate. Uber Macro will change my depends. Chronicle change my depends. Big Bob will just come and wear underwear. If you're willing to hobby, I'll hang out with you. I mean, there will be a day where I forget how to do all this stuff, probably. Just take me out to pasture then. Right? Just take me out to pasture. My great uncle was like, I was like, where's the horse? We had to take him out to pasture. And I was like, oh, he's grazing. And then later on, well, is he just going to eat forever? And they all look at each other like, I can't remember the exact moment, but it was very awkward. Yeah, he's really hungry, son. Just take me out to pasture. Tell him I'm eating forever. Nah. I hope that something I say can inspire you to gain more out of your hobby. Don't pressure it with too much so that it can't be what you need it to be. Enjoy it. You'll get more done, man. You'll have more models painted if you enjoy what you do. Now Chris will be mad that he's not here recording, right? Although I feel like that's very similar to the thing we just posted a couple weeks ago. Ah! See what I did there? I think that's the first time I've done that. At least that's the first one I've caught, right? I don't think. Have any of the rest of you been marking them down and waiting for me to notice them? Have I been smacking bright colors on the red anywhere else? We'll just erase that. That didn't happen. You didn't see that. That didn't happen. Mistakes? Never heard of them. You'll never let me go. I get to. Oh, I would be a Dreadnought. I would be a Dreadnought. If we can figure that technology out, I'm first in line, dude. I just give me big guns and a heavy dose of feel no pain. I may not be the hero you need. I will definitely be the one you deserve. Me and a Dreadnought would be like that guy in the Killer Tractor, right? Remember that guy? Good God, these things are tiny. Little bitty filigree things. Holy mackerel. That's a lot of stress right there. My hobby's giving me stress. I need to go look at spreadsheets to get away from my hobby. Chai Cat, take it easy. Have a great weekend. The Bob Ross of the Dreadnought world. Is that what we need? I feel like that might not be what we need. Will you give me a fro? I've never had a fro. I have very fine straight hair. Dual or maximum overdrive for killer tractors. I do have the Bob Ross wig from way back. It's still here in a bag someplace. That it is. All right, a little bit more painting. I'm probably going to quit at 5 and go home and take care of the girls. They're going to be hungry for dinner. Bitching because mom's gone. Dad's never good enough. Dad, mom gives us treats all the time. That's the eyes I'm going to get the whole time mom's gone. The look of disappointment from Cora. Just little bits of, just barely the tip of the brush here, right? Catch these areas of like points on the filigree. Top of the loopy curves here. Tiny thin lines, holy bananas. I typically like to highlight all the rivets, even if they're not in a spot where they would get a highlight, just because it brings the detail out. Catch any little breaks in the armor here, maybe give it a hair of a highlight, even on the dark side. Like we talked about earlier. Just so that whole line doesn't fall into obscurity in the shadows. You do the same thing like at the top of this back corner on the crotch plate, just to give it some dimension, right? Because you lose that line visually if it gets too dark. Something like that. Looks pretty good, yeah? Not too chubby. I'm happy with that. Coming together. I don't know why I started at the feet. I don't know. Unlucky painter. Don't have to apologize. That has probably been asked a lot. Are those new set of brushes? Oh, yeah. So what this is the first of our U.S.-made sables. The brush heads are identical to our current Pro Sables. They're made in Germany. So the ferrule assembly with the bristles is all made in Germany. The handles are all made here. So the dowel and the dipping, the primer, the paint, the varnish, the crimping of the head, all of the assembly and manufacturing of the dowel is done here. These don't have the printing on them yet, but we have the printer here too. We just are waiting on the right color ink because we're going to match it to the tail dip on the red. So we've gotten all the equipment up and running. The group has done a really good job of working it through its paces, but everything is the exact same quality as the current Pro Sables. It'll be the same price. They will just allow us to manufacture to keep better stock. When you hand make brushes, there's a limited amount, as you can imagine, of you just can't magically make more. You only have a certain amount of people that can do them. To train new people takes a very long time. It's not just hire and in 2 weeks you're making brushes. No, that's the Chinese method, because it's all automated manufacturing and very little true brush making mastery over there. And then you just can't bolster production volumes. So what we did is we were able to work with our manufacturer. We got a lot of the equipment from their factory that was, I guess, going to be phased out, and we refurbished it and got it over here. Had some new stuff built, like the crimpers and stuff are all new, but from the same manufacturer that makes all the crimpers for the factory. So it's literally an identical copy, just with some older equipment in our place as Germany. So a lot of fun. But we wanted to make sure that we could keep the US brushes separate visually from the ones made in Germany, so that when we get like customer issues or somebody has questions, we know exactly where to go look in the process. Because we were going to make them look exactly the same. And we're like, that's probably not a good idea. So availability on them should be somewhere October-ish, maybe. We're just now about to move production into a brand new facility. Construction starts over there this next week. We just walked it this week, and assuming that by the end of September we have all of production and fulfillment moved over to the new building, then we'll probably be able to get into actual assembly line production on them in October. The U.S. brushes in monument colors, that's white and black. We can do black. Yeah, we can do black. Awkwardish, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, we've had the tools for making the brushes now for years, and people that have been around on the stream for a long time will know that I've been talking about it for a long time, but it just hasn't been able to come to pass because the amount of effort and time and personnel we have to keep applying to paint manufacturing growth has taken away the ability to just shift and start doing the brushes. So I think we had over a year ago, we had the master brush maker from Germany came over here and spent a weekend with Jen and I and looked over all the machinery and taught us what we needed to be doing and what we had to look out for. And just that's like unheard of, by the way, to be able to have somebody share that knowledge with us. And it's been over a year and we didn't ever do anything with that knowledge because, you know, we had all this other stuff going on. And now we're finally making it happen. So, ta-da! Better Nate than Lever. Or something like that. They're great. I've been using them. I took these brushes to Nova, some number 3s and number 1s that Jesse made up for me, and they are just working a champ. So, yep, love them. Very confident that we can add these into the lineup with nobody having a care in the world. They'll be just as good as you've known all the brushes from us to be, and allow us to hopefully keep up with demand a lot better here in the States. They will not be available in Europe this way. You'll just get the same standard ones that we've had forever, which is not a bad thing. And then in America, you'll have a combo. You'll be able to get both. You'll have some of the German and some of the U.S. manufacturing here. Until such a point where we can manufacture enough here to like only have the U.S. have U.S. brushes. It's not a goal for us, but if that were to ever happen, we'd do that. We will be the only hobby company that actually makes our own brushes at that point. Isn't that cool? Aha! Take that! We're truly not doing it for the flex. I would think there's a million other things we'd rather be doing than learning how to do that. But it is kind of cool when you think about it. I'm super stoked that I am sitting here painting with the first ever real monument brushes. And I say real in that, you know, people here at the factory built this. And it's working like a champ. So I take great pride in that. It's a lot of fun. can't really do much on that chest thing except for like, grab a couple of lines here and there. It's so finely detailed, right? It's like a lot of little bitty things. So it doesn't have as much contrast as I would like it to have, but I think that's kind of the way it would look. It wouldn't have a ton in all that fine detail that you would see visually because the lines are so small compared to the rest of the model that at scale you lose some of the normal contrast that you get out of metallic shine, right? Because the reflections are so tiny. So you just kind of got to deal with the detail level being what keeps it from having as big an impact. If I make it super contrasty, it starts to look a little cartoony at this scale. So we'll play around with that. I kind of like that. The relation between the chest filigree and the stuff on the belly that's darker because of its angle not hitting any of our light source, right? I think works really well and shows the difference in the shine very well. Nothing's real till it's on the store. This is always the case. Yes, I promise nothing until it's on the store. But I'm feeling really good about these, so hopefully they come true. We have, I don't know, a bajillion brush heads. So one of my big fears is that we've been sitting on these brush heads. Think about this, right? We've been sitting on these brush heads for so long because we really did plan on doing this 2 years ago, year and a half, 2 years ago. And so we've had all these brushes. It's been so frustrating knowing that right in the other room over at production, I have had the ability to make 50,000 brushes. And when they're out of stock on the store, imagine how frustrating that is. It's like, grrr. So it's nice that it's all coming true now. And the team's really excited about it too. I think they're really enjoying it, figuring out all the how-to and kind of learning together what makes sense, and it's fun in a completely masochistic sort of way. It's scary because like the printer we use is like this massive, super expensive piece of machinery that you feel like if you do anything wrong, you're going to just completely mess it up. The print head is, I don't know, $9,000. It's stupid. And you guys get to be here for the ride. It's the thing. Twitch, you get to hear and see about it all first. So if you're wondering why it's worth it to hang out here and put up with my nonsense all the time, there you go. You get the insider information. We like you best, Twitch. And YouTube. Sorry, you guys are there. We love you too. It's funny, for so long we couldn't stream on YouTube because of Twitch's partnership agreement stuff. And this last year when they took all that off, it's been awesome being able to have people be on whatever platform they want to be finally. As we do. I kind of like just that. It's kind of bland on that side, but I kind of like that. Yeah, sorry if there's alerts that I'm supposed. What did I miss? Raiders. Oh my gosh. Who came in? Hello. Sorry, I'm doing a surprise by myself stream. I have nobody. Is it Kenny? Is it Kenny? What's going on, my man? Welcome back. I know Kenny. Everybody in chat, can we get a big, huge amount of hearts, love, and congrats to Mr. Next Level Painting, Kenny Boucher, the master, the myth, the legend in chat. He got engaged. She said yes. Right? So awesome. Yeah, no free pub for Kenny. No free pub for Kenny's engagement and his future bride. But huge congrats out to Kenny Boucher. Make sure you give that man a follow here on the Twitcherinos. A long-time compatriot of the channel. Big, huge supporter of Pro Curl since day one. And he got engaged. Went down to Puerto Rico. And had himself a little vacay. So I'm snagging Puerto Rican beers. So big congrats, Kenny. Hopefully you're super embarrassed. Awesome stuff. And welcome everybody that showed up off of the raid. You're catching us right when we're quitting. As you can tell by the title, don't tell Chris. Chris and I and Gabe are all intended to have days off today. I couldn't leave well enough alone. I had to come in and paint. I figured if I was going to paint, then we'll paint with my friends on the internet. So we've been working on the non-metallic gold for one of our Incendious dreads for our 30K Blood Angels. And we're making good progress. I think we did a lot today. So hopefully we haven't been necessarily talking as much about paint as about other silly things, but it's been a good time. I love hanging out. Even on my days off, I love painting with my friends on Twitch. So that's coming along really well. The contrast is looking really good. This is, for all of you that don't know, this is my Blood Angels army. My 30K Blood Angels army is all done with these true scale Mark 2, 3, and 4 Marines that are all Primaris size. And it's 62 jump pack bros and 2 Incendious jump pack dreadnoughts and a Thunderhawk. Because why not? Because why not be silly and make a list that will absolutely get trounced by everything? I think the Thunderhawk is the only thing in my list that has a chance to kill stuff at a reasonable rate. Because they've kind of nerfed the ability to get into close combat in this 3. All his friends on the internet, and me too. I mean... He's happy as happy can be. You could tell. You could tell. And Kenny deserves it, man. Kenny deserves it. If you're in here, you deserve it, brother. Congrats. Awesome stuff. Jump Back Bro looks happy. They're all happy. They're all happy bros. We're doing some with silver trim. Some with gold. But all with this brilliant red that I'm doing out of Payne's Gray, Dark Plum, and Bold Pyro Red. So... I'm really excited for this army. It's going to look great on the table. 50 million jump pack bros and a big freaking flyer. What do you mean it's day off? There's no rest for the wicked. Of course not. I decided to come in and paint. I was actually going to build the Thunderhawk today, but that only took me sitting at my desk and looking at all the parts to say, nah, I'll paint the Dreadnought. I don't think I want to clean all that resin today, actually. So I'll deal with Philip. Philip and I will get it done. We'll have a Thunderhawk to paint up pretty soon. It'll be a lot of fun. The vehicles actually will go a lot quicker. So. Have you checked for warpage yet? Yeah, it all looks pretty good. It where the top half and bottom half clamshell there's 2 top and bottom half sections, and then the front, I believe it's a front section. When you put it together, you got to mash it. And so when we glue it, we probably have to rubber band that. But it's not necessarily warped. It's just that, one of them kind of, the sides kind of bow out, and the other one, the sides kind of bow in. And so when you put them together, you got to kind of pinch it to get it to all go together. But it'll be fine. It'll be fine. There's none of this, like this cockamamie, like front to back warpage, because the Thunderhawk is built where everything is framed. Everything's at least like a C channel, right? So there's not a lot of room for warpage, like in a lot of those pieces where there's no long flat pieces. The wings are so thick, I don't know how they'd warp. The wings are like literally a solid 5/8 or 3/4 inch resin and thicker where at the port where the engine is. The wings are stupid. The wings weigh more than a Land Raider each. The thing's a behemoth. Any tips on darkening the turquoise from y'all's range? Something like dark jade. We have a dark turquoise now. The dark turquoise from Louise's set works really well. We have turquoise is one of the triads that we have, right? We have dark turquoise, and we don't have a bright turquoise, but you have like bright jade that works really well with that. Or the bright pale green works really well. The white blue works really well to move it higher in highlight. But dark turquoise is great, right? And then you can even go from dark turquoise into either jade or dark jade, right? Remember that any of the green blues work really well together, right? You just shift into more green with the jade from the blue, but they work fantastic together. So all of those colors are great. It is heavy. I got to get one of the Dragon Forge gaming stands if they still make them. They make the thing that goes on the base. I think they even sell the base. That has that big clear rod. I got to figure that out. Because I'm not setting that thing on the table. I'm going to get like a rod that's 48 inches tall and just have it be up in the sky. There's no happy in the 41st millennium. This is 30K, I'll have you know. We're not in the 41st millennium here. We're 10,000 years before, you know, real space marines. You were in a build mood the other day and put together Lucius the Eternal and mostly assembled Fulgrim, left his wings, head, and shoulder wing thingy off to make painting easier. Yeah, that's a crazy model just because of the scale, height, and depth of the snake body and all that stuff. Old school. You have a triad recommendation for red oxide as the mid color. Depends. Do you want to go from red oxide to pyro red? Because that's a good jump, right? So red oxide to pyro works great. And you can use as little pyro red as you need. So it can actually be a highlight for the red oxide, and red oxide can be your main color. And then downward, you know, you can use everything from burnt red, black red, you name it, right? All of those are great choices. The burnt red is actually darker. You can see there on the cap. In the bottle, they don't always look too different, but they are. So yeah, I like pyro red. Orange red, when you mix it into burnt or to the red oxide, is really good. It's not as great just directly over it because it has a lot of contrast, but mixing it in is really good because you have more orange here, and this is more of an, I don't want to say an orangey red, but it really is, right? It's one that wants to have a little bit of orange in it, so adding the orange red into it and working up to the orange red would be a great way to do it if you didn't want to just have the kind of fire engine red of Pyro. So you have all those choices. All of our reds work well together in various combos. This is all up to Pyro Red off of Dark Plum, Pyro Red, and then Orange Red, and then a color that we call Eclectic Salmon that is Orange Red mixed with Warm Flesh as the highlight. That's what you get, and when it's finished out, it looks really good. We then do the edge detailing with Pale Pink. So the highlights on the edges are all in Pale Pink. I haven't done that on any of these guys yet. But it gives good contrast on the model. It gives a really nice rich red that, while feeling bright, still can feel weathered and you know, grimdark as well. So I don't do any washes or, you know, oils or anything like that. No noosh. I just let the dark plum and the Payne's gray be my shadow that kind of make it look a little crustier or dingier red. And then way too much non-metallic gold because I'm an idiot. Can you just sell me salmon? I will, eventually. I swear, it's in the next expansion set. Darth Mullen, it's orange red and warm flesh. About 70-30 orange red to warm flesh. Less warm flesh than orange red. The orange flesh will take it over very, very quickly and make it into that real peachy color. So more orange red than warm flesh. Darth Mullen, flesh tones is your answer. Anytime you want to highlight reds, grab a flesh tone like tan flesh into pyro red, makes a fantastic highlight. Even shadow flesh into pyro red gets you a mid-tone. But then like warm flesh into reds gives you a more kind of, I call it peachy color, right? It's a salmon color. It has enough yellow and pink in it at the same time that it doesn't shift it orange and it doesn't shift it bubblegum pink. It keeps it right on time. I mean, that's what you're looking at, right? It gives you a brightness to it, but it doesn't make it feel irregular in any way. Whereas I feel like oranges that, like you look at the GW box models and they go to more of an orangey color, and I feel like that that's kind of reserved for plastics in my world. It depends. I typically want to keep it more red. And so flesh tones do that very well, the brighter flesh tones. You tried using the oranges and even the pinks from your line? Yeah, flesh tones, not just the oranges. And now with red orange, with orange red, we also have a red orange, but with orange red, you now get a really, really good first highlight over Pyrrole that gives you a little bit of vibrancy in the tone of orange, and then you come back and make it more pink with the highlighting the orange red like I've done here. But you can also do it with bold Pyrrole and skip the orange altogether. That'll make your red look deeper, you know, if you're doing like World Eaters red or Old Word Bearers red. Something where you didn't want the oranginess to it. I like the oranginess on the Blood Angels in specifics. But when I was doing the Word Bearers, I wouldn't have done the orange red. I would have just done Pyro red and then highlighted the Pyro red. Mo, what are you whatting about? Eclectic Salmon will be in expansion set 5. It's one of the guaranteed colors. Yeah, it's weird. Color mixing is a strange thing because, you know, you can think, I want to orange your red, and you put orange and red and not get where you want to go. So what color can you find? Because you have to think in terms of value, because a lot of times when we add colors, we're either trying to create a shade or a highlight for that color. You can be mixing just to get a new color as a mid-tone, but you need to think about the value of the color you're putting in. So like orange and red are similar values. Even though the orange will look a little brighter, at the reality of it, it's not bright enough to really create a highlight. So when you mix orange into red and you get that orange red, it can be a good hue shift as you move into your highlights, like what our orange red paint does. It's not that it's really brighter than Bold Pyrrole, but it has enough of a hue in that orangey space to kind of create a section of the model that is prepped for highlighting, if you will. Whereas if you then take something that is orangier, right? Warm Flesh is a yellowy flesh tone, right? And so while it's not orange, it has that yellow that when mixed with red will give you an orangey tone. And that's why you start getting that kind of salmony mix. It's a little warm, little cooled off in the pink range. History was made today? What? I've been saying this forever. I've been saying this forever. Uber Macro, thank you. And welcome. Glad you found us. You just gave me a great offshoot chapter for the World Eaters Legion, the pizza eaters, the pie consumers. What are the other for sure colors in the next set? Well, I didn't say I was going to tell you that. I don't know. I got to get on that. I owe the list of colors to the product dev team. Jeff Stein, what's going on? This is a dry powder. It's a piece of glass, right? It's just a big piece of glass, 9x12 piece of glass. It's from Amazon. It's called New Wave. New Wave. New Wave Fine Art Products off of Amazon. Or www.newwaveart.com. Just a gray it's a piece of glass, laminated gray on the back, so you can't scrape the paint off. Tempered glass. Has rubber feet on the corners. I don't use a wet palette. When is forever going to be today, Sugar Rush? Well, if I told you that, it would take all the fun away from it. Traven, what's going on? You've been painting a lot of sci-fi armor lately. A lot of love for slate gray, bright blue, or bright green blue, and you, Dallas, whoever, for making them. Yeah, exactly. Dallas came up with his color line, and then we put it to work. He came up with some great colors. Pizza the Hut. You just started priming your first group of Death Guard Marines with your new airbrush. Boy, was you excited. Nice. Very cool, Chappie. Chappie, wait a minute. Who is this Chappie? Do I know you? Jeff Stein, yes, I do prefer it over wet palette. I typically don't use a wet palette. The only time I pull a wet palette out is to show how to set one up and how to use it for people that are having problems with their wet palettes. I can use one just fine. I just don't prefer them. They tend to overthin your paints. I believe that the best way to paint is to keep the droplet of paint the way it is when it comes out of the bottle, and then you take a wet brush and you pull out legs. You'll see that my paint splotches on my palette have these little areas pulled down from them where they thin out. Here's the droplet of paint. I never change it. I just touch the side of it and bring paint down. There's some videos on our YouTube channel that show how I operate paint, because that way I can always add more pure pigment back into the paint, dilute it more, rather than putting the droplet out and letting the droplet dilute. Now I can only use the diluted paint. If I want the true paint, I got to put more out, and then it starts diluting on the wet palette. So I prefer to use a dry palette for that reason. The droplet of paint is always exactly the way the paint will act, and then I get to alter it how I need on the brush at any given time, because the way we paint, we typically are not looking to just use the paint in one way. We want to put a thin coat down and then a opaque coat over it, as opposed to 15 thin coats, right? So if you only have thin paint on your palette, then you can only do multiple thin coats, and as opposed to what, certain brands and people would have you think, that's not the way you really want to be painting. You need a thin coat, we need a thin coat, you need a thick coat, we need a thick coat. You need to be able to adjust that on the fly so you can get the best results. And the only way to do that is to have the droplet of paint be exactly what it is out of the bottle, so you can always go back to the origin state to then move that where you need it to go to do what you need. Like when I'm doing highlights on edges, you definitely don't want too thin paint. You don't want to see through that. You want that highlight to stick. You want it to be opaque and to really jump off the model in most cases. But when I'm doing layering, I need a color that goes on. I need to go on thin first and then opaque after. So. Chappie. Okay, cool. I have a buddy who goes by Chappie that we went to college together, and he just messaged me from time to time, and I was wondering if it was finally him jumping in chat. But I know that Chris mentions your name all the time, and I probably have asked this question already. All right, gang, that's it. I have to move over to the producer's seat because I can't do anything from here. So I'll move over here where you can't see me, but you can still hear me. Ta-da! I'm back. But now I'm on Chris's bobbly chair. I want to tell you something, chat. This chair is the absolute most dangerous thing on the planet. Right? Like, literally the most dangerous thing on the planet. I don't know how to show. I turned the producer on. Oh, it's not on. Oh, probably because the camera's not on, huh? Oh, well, you don't get to see me because the camera's not on for the producer, but you can hear me. I am the disembodied voice. I wish I could show you, because Chris's chair is super dangerous, his bouncy chair. I sat down in it real quick to start up the stream and nearly killed myself. I nearly killed myself sitting on this damn bouncy chair. Okay. Blah, blah, blah. What am I trying to do here? I'm trying to do this. I don't know how to turn this damn camera on. Does it just have a power button? Someplace that I don't know about? I feel like this one you have to turn it on, like over here maybe. Oh god, I don't know how to do it, chat. I'm an idiot. Is that it? Did it turn on? No. Nope. I don't know how to turn it on. Oh well. You don't get to see me bounce on Chris's chair. That would be like the definite icing on the cake for today's stream. If when he goes back to watch it, he saw me, my nuts are on your drums. Is that chair OSHA approved? Definitely not OSHA approved. So I'm talking, Chet. I'm still here. I swear. I guess I'll put some links. You got to go to if you've never been on our Discord, go to our Discord. I don't know if that works. Does that work? I don't know if that works. Did you guys get links? I don't know. I don't know how the damn commands work on this thing. Oh, well, you don't get any commands today, I guess. Did it just literally type /Discord? Oh, is it !Discord? Ta-da! You guys are smart. You guys are hired. Chris, you're fired. Chat, you're hired. I just need a way for you to be able to type it. And then !store. Bingo. Ta-da! Go to the store. Go to the Discord. Join our community. Buy some cool paints. Buy some brushes. Have some fun. That's all the work I'm doing today. Chat, thank you so much for hanging out with me. You wish you could click. My nuts are on your drums. Blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah, blah. Chat. Wait a minute. What is this? Why is this here? This is really hard for me, chat. I don't know what's going. Oh, look at that. Okay. Is there anybody doing anything? Wicked Minis. We can raid Wicked Minis. That is what we shall do. Do I have to do that from here? Boy, you guys have seen. This is the most professional we have ever been, chat. 100% most professional stream in the history of professional streams. I just want you to realize that you were here the day we broke the professionalism spectrum in half with me not knowing how to turn anything on or off. Yeah, we can't fire Chris until he teaches me how to turn things on and off. So thank you so much for hanging out with me. Yeah, I did do that one. Awkward, I got that one keyed up over here. I know how to do that one. I just had to find the right place to type it in. So thank you so much for watching and hanging out with me. It is our day off, so I apologize for the non-professionalism that we had. I hope you guys had a lot of fun. We got to paint some non-metallic gold. The dread's looking really cool. I'm super happy with it. We will continue to push forward on that. I may stream over the weekend. I don't know. I'm going to ask the hobby channel here. We have a group here at the shop where a lot of people get together in hobby, and we might do that. Hell, we might stream that. We might put the cameras on the game table on and let you hang out with all of us as we paint and just have it be a monument personality stream. A lot of us sitting around telling fart jokes and making fun of each other while we paint models. Who knows? You just never know. I like these surprise streams, so whatever. Sugar Rush says, wait, when are the pro streams? I know where you live. You watch it, boy. I don't promise anything, but we'll see. Jen's out of town. As long as I feel like I can leave the dogs alone for a long time, I'm not going to bring them over here with me. They'll tear stuff up. But we'll figure it out. We'll have some fun over the weekend if we can. If not, have a wonderful weekend. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. Stick around. I am going to find somebody to raid, so show some love in the chat we wind up in. And we will see you when we see you. Adios, chat.